Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 21st episode of The Breakfast Dish, our podcast. It's a proud father morning for old Griff, because our podcast can drink everywhere. It can crack a shock top in Nevada and walk down the street, and the cops can't do anything, and you can't do anything either, Karen. How are you?
Could you not freak me out by saying it's a proud father morning for Griffin?
What do you mean? You don't want me to be a father someday?
Someday, just not right now. No, you know what? Right now would be great. I got nothing else going on, so pop out those grandkids. Get me some.
Can I just confirm that you are cool with me being a father right now because you have the time for me to be a father?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, if I go back to work, I have no time for grandkids. It's so untrue. I can't even believe I'm saying.
Karen's got a meeting. Grandma, leave. I'm on the frickin' phone. Karen, what do we do on the breakfast dish? Come on. An old tried and true tale.
On the breakfast dish, apparently you make fun of me. But more than that, the breakfast dish is fashioned after my Facebook series called The Breakfast Series, where I would have breakfast with people I know or sometimes don't know, so that I could get to know them better, and then I could tell the world why they should know them better. We've turned the Breakfast Dish podcast into a vehicle that spreads and shares and amplifies and lifts upon podiums news about any online or socially distant safe art that is happening during stay away from each other times.
I've also you added so many syllables to COVID. Stay away from each other times is an entire tongue twister.
Although, you know what? I was talking to somebody the other day who's been listening to our podcast who referred to it casually as stay away from each other times.
Really?
And I thought, that's nice. Thank you. Yep. Stay away from each other times.
Wow.
So I invented it. Just like, if I can plug my other podcast for a minute.
Go ahead. I can't stop you. Go ahead.
Bridging the Gap Between Generations Who Assume Things About Each Other, that I host with Stephanie Wolf. She coined the term, or the phrase that describes what happened on November 7th as the White House fell on the witch, which I also thought was great, and she invented it. And I have it recorded so no one else can steal it.
That is very good. I also should say, because we haven't talked about it in a long time, we got a lot of development and mentorship through Verb Theater.
We did.
We had a little mini talk show called the Blue Light Breakfast Series based on their Blue Light Festival, and we almost called this thing the Breakfast Cereal. But somebody already did that, so now we're the Breakfast Dish.
I know. And we think maybe Russell Bowers came up with that title, but we don't know. But let's just credit him for it anyway, because it just sounds awful if we're trying to say, I thought of it. So let's just give it to Russell Bowers from CBC Daybreak, Alberta. Tell him that he thought it up.
Well, speaking of sounding awful, we have yet to introduce our guests, so we're bad hosts.
No.
We have.
It's only been 2.5 minutes.
Oh, really? I'm watching my Audacity right now, and it looks like we're approaching 4 minutes. So, shame on me, shame on us, fool me once. And we are joined, and I'm going to say it right, and if I don't say it right, I'm going to edit this part out. It's Andrea Kotylak.
It is, that's right.
Hi, Andrea.
Oh my God. Okay, well then I'm going to keep in the build-up for that. Well done. Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
How are you doing? Can I ask what's behind you on your wall right now? Again, this is a very self-serving. This is an audio medium for everyone else.
It's just a sculpture by H.R. Giger.
It's gorgeous.
Wow.
When Andrea joined the Zoom meeting, the first thing she said is, we're not recording, there's no visuals with this. I sort of pointed at my pulled back hair and my lousy sweatshirt and went,
I gotta hide my Giger.
Yeah, well, it's more the house coat.
Oh, I see.
I have not dressed up in the last 9 months for anything, so no, there's no video going.
If we were recording visually, I would make sure this towel is out of the way out of my face, and I would make Karen hide the mattress she's recording inside of right now.
You know what, though, Griffin? You could link to, H.R. Giger. Is that who you said the sculptor is?
Yeah.
You could link to that artist on the website page. Nope, on the podcast page.
And now that you've asked me to, I have to. Andrea, how are you in November of 2020?
I have been doing good. staying positive.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's strange. Like, I've really gotten ready, or not, I haven't gotten ready yet, but I'm planned out Christmas so in-depthly in my head. Just, you have to have like those big things to look forward to, I think. So
Sure.
it's, yeah.
Can I ask you what your Christmas plans are?
Well, my brother just got a hold of me and he told me that he wasn't able to come into town this year. So we're going to do it virtually. But it's more like the smells. So I've got like the tea lights, candles of like cinnamon and like.
This is totally off, like this is a complete segue. However, if you go to Chintz and Company, but sometimes they sell them at Chapters, there's a candle called Fraser Fir.
And it's like Christmas tree.
Super expensive.
I love
but
it.
It is the best Christmas tree. Like, it's not that, that sort of scent that comes out of a candle that just makes you have a headache a bit. This one is incredible. Fraser Fir. It'll cost you $1 million. I buy them every year.
Sorry, it'll cost you $1 million?
Oh, well, I might tend to exaggerate just a little bit. Have you noticed that about me over the last 24 years, son?
What I haven't noticed over the last 24 years is you buying a new Christmas tree every year.
Candle, not tree, candle.
Oh, no. Oh, Griffin, you look the fool. Note to editor, you have to edit this part out. If you leave it in, I'll look like a real dingus.
Dingus. Hey, listen, dingus. We started this podcast so that we could talk about things that had to virtually move online. And Andrea, you have a venue in Edmonton.
Correct.
You have a venue in Edmonton, the Starlite Room.
Correct.
I'm just going to say that without a question mark. You have a venue in Edmonton called the Starlight Room.
I'm going to leave those both in.
You'd feature so many acts, and that was what you did. And it seems to me, in my memory, because we were talking quite soon after we started this podcast, that you were one of the first to quickly go, how do we pivot this online?
Well, we started the Starlite Sessions before COVID, but we did nothing with it. Nothing with it. Like, I had this idea that just with live music, there's like a lot of dwindling youth retention. The younger generation doesn't seem to socialize like every other generation before them has. So we came up with the idea that we would have something digital and online. So like if people could see what a wicked experience a live music was, they'd be more inclined to like start going to live music events. And on top of that, it's really difficult for emerging artists to like get a gig. Yeah. And they don't know how to book a gig and they don't know how to market themselves as a business. It's more like, I love music and I'm passionate, but like nobody will like let me play somewhere. So it was going to be a platform where it would merge both like the live music experience, but also as a teaching tool to emerging musicians.
I didn't realize there was like a whole boot camp element. That's really great.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like that's the intention. And then I built everything and, we were busy. There was lots of things going on. And so everything was rolling and I figured I would start working on I built the website, we built the platform, we built the social media, and then everything just kind of went wayside. And I thought in the summer I would pick it up and start really focusing on all aspects of it and then really launch it next year. But COVID hit.
And summer came in March.
Yeah. And we had a cancellation and we had a sold out show, which was canceled. So the only thing we were like, what are we going to do? And it was like, well, we have this built. Let's just plug it in and stream. So we did. And that's really how Starlite Sessions became a household use, but it wasn't the intention really.
Griffin mentioned Verb Theatre, and because we did get the Blue Light Breakfast series going with Verb Theatre, because they had their Blue Light Online Festival, which is the same thing. They created and curated this festival before COVID was ever thought of. So, yeah, I love that. I love that people were already sort of, without even knowing it, making that change or that transition or spreading those wings.
Yeah, like I said, it was an idea. And we've kind of switched so far from what we had hoped to do that now that summer's over, because we were able to host live events like out on our patio. We were able to get a patio. We were never able to do that before. So we were quite more busier than we've ever been in our summers. So like now that it's back to winter time, we're switching gears to really focus and rebuild the sessions, I guess.
Oh, perfect. And that's really interesting because the way that I found out about Starlite Sessions is that I've been to like I want to say 6 or 7 shows at the Starlight Room. My first one was, I think a punk band from Lethbridge called Calling All Captains.
Oh yes, yeah.
And with Connor Dawkins. I went with his sister Alex, and that was awesome. It's true though. Like I would say that my generation, it's not that I don't go to live music, but I always forget how good it is until I go there.
It really, and it's dwindling less and less too. With I mean, by the time I was 15, we were going to like places like the Ritz Diner. We were going to like, during the Fringe Festival, there was bands in every alley. We would stand out back of like Blues on White. Like we were always checking out live music, and I feel like we were kind of like the last of the generation in that scene that was very much into socializing and going out and having those experiences. Whereas now it's like, it's just a very different experience. And so,
and you know, I'm almost doing a discredit to my generation by being like, yeah, we all messed it up. I would say that like, I personally prefer going to a venue like the Starlight Room and being in a room with like, or used to be able to be in a room with like 50 to 60 people and just enjoying that one band rather than going to like a Coliseum or in Calgary we have the Saddle Dome, and just far away seeing one artist, whatever, like 6 kilometers away. Like I much prefer being able to be like, hey, well done, let me buy you a beer after the show.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I think there's so many factors into it, but it has a lot to do with like even money. Like the younger generation doesn't have a disposable income, and with like urban sprawl, the younger generation are living still like usually at home with their parents, which is a $60 cab ride to a downtown venue. And are you going to be spending, and like you think both ways, like you're looking at like over $100 just to get there and back, and then let alone like the price of a concert ticket. And if you really like the band, and if you don't know the band before you're buying these tickets, it's not worth it for you. And that's what I mean by like, it's been dwindling in the younger generations, like, and it's not accessible to listen to a new artist without forking over so much money.
Andrea, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's just a way to build exposure to those emerging artists, to build a fan base. And then that way, when they have a large enough fan base, they can have a show. Our room's big. We fit over 600 people in our venue. Like, you have to be able to sell tickets to fill that space. It's not a toss up if you can or if you can't. Like it's expensive, so it has to work. It has to be a draw band. So unless you're lucky enough to get on an opening, but like that's a whole other can. So
I know it's working because I'm sitting on the website and I saw the Funkford family.
Yeah.
And went, I need to know who that is. Like I need to listen to that. I've never ever heard that band, but anything with the word funk in it makes me happy. So it's doing exactly what you want, in the sense that it's introducing me to a band I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I'm now going to go find them and listen to them. And then maybe next time they're at the Starlight Room, when we can go get together, I'll come see them.
And with the Funkford family, they were part of Jazz Fest, like our city's annual Jazz Fest. You guys have one too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen amazing artists at your Jazz Fest. I get really excited thinking about how great Calgary's Jazz Fest is.
Oh man, that's good. There, did you hear that, Calgary? Did you hear that?
way to go, Calgary. We really nailed the Jazz Fest on this one.
Nailed it.
I really like the point of the kind of consideration and research done for cabs for a younger generation. That's something that I was such an impeding thing when I was like 18. I didn't drive. I was doing an internship, so I only had enough to like, you know, I was still living at home, but I still had like some expenses, so I had no disposable income.
Yeah.
And buddies would be like, "Yeah, come downtown and you can come check my comedy show at 12:30." And I was like, "I can't, man."
I don't know about Calgary, but like our transit, they're considering extending transit hours and stuff like that again, but it doesn't, especially like those outskirt neighborhoods, they don't make it out there, and that tends to be where a lot of a lot of families have started, and like, you know, and it's where people live, and it's difficult. Whereas like everything was within a few block radius when I shouldn't even say that, even if it was like a little bit further away, but things were cheaper. There was no mandatories on taxis after 10 o'clock in our city, or not after 10, after 11, it's an additional $10 fee just on top to take you anywhere.
I didn't know that. I'd never take cabs.
Not on Uber. Uber's different, but Uber has its surge prices too. So.
Oh man, surge pricing is the scourge of my existence. What a first world problem that is.
And also, as somebody that, like, I didn't grow up going to bars really at all.
She's lying. She partied very hard. I've seen the videos. It's
I could
crazy.
tell.
Yeah.
But I think to myself, you know, that $60 cab ride, plus there's a cover fee probably, plus, you know, at some places, and I'm not talking about Starlight Room, if there's booze involved, it's like $95 for a beer.
Well, and those are big things too that have changed it. But that has to do with like, because my nephews are of age now, right? They've just turned 18, and they were like they wanted to rent. This is before COVID, or while COVID was hitting. They weren't realizing how much of a shutdown we were going to be, and they were wondering like how to rent the room for a night to host a party. And I'm like, but we have mandatory minimum. You're better like renting a hall for a night. And they're like, oh, but it wouldn't be the aesthetic. It wouldn't be the feel. And I'm like, yeah, but we are enforced by AGLC to have mandatory minimum drink pricing. So we have to set those, like we used to have 50-cent highballs, and you know what I mean? Like these drink prices that were so cheap. Now it's like the minimums have to be a certain standard. And when you think about a music venue, like the ticket price goes to the band or the producers, and who split it with the band. And we might get a room rental fee that goes to our sound technicians, our lighting technicians, is what the room rental fee is. It covers those costs. So we, as a venue, we only make our money off of alcohol strictly. So if we don't have a crowd that drinks, the show wasn't worth it for us anyways, which is also crazy. So there needs to be something, but what that is.
Do you know what I love about this? What I love about this conversation is that you talk about Griffin's age people as the younger generation, which makes me think you think you're of a much older generation, but you're much younger than me. But the point is, you're not running a business going, how do I make money? How do I make money? You're in your business and you're not going, what do my generation people want to hear? You're focusing on the younger generation, which I don't think a lot of people do when I don't know. Like it just I love hearing that your number one focus is getting people to enjoy music rather than getting them drunk.
Well, and that's the whole goal, is to figure out a way
to get drunk,
to get wasted, just
to get schmittered.
But it's it's one of those things. Like our scene, like our industry, really depends on like even the age group under like that haven't come of age yet, so they're not legally allowed to drink. They'll set the trends leading into the future, like what people want to listen to and everything like that. Like it's so that's why when we're looking at it, and it's like, okay, we don't have youth retention. Like drinking is one thing because that helps us as a venue. Like we really need to sell alcohol or figure out a better business model, frankly, like is really what it's going to come down to. But we really need to have that youth retention. The older people get, they age out. They just don't, like, hey, if it's like a really banger of a show, they're going to go, but they're not going to go see a local band they've seen 100 times. They're not going to waste their night doing something they've done a bunch of times. So it's really about getting the youth interested in our scenes and in our arts.
And they kind of have to drive the bus and say, this is what we want to see.
Yeah.
So I think actually, you know, you talk a lot, like the theater community talks, right? Like how is our audience changing? Where are they coming from? Where are they going, et cetera, et cetera. And I think right now, during these last 9 months, everybody's thinking exactly that. Maybe we have to change a business model, or maybe this is the time to change a business model, or you know, it's going to be Griffin's age actors that change the face of theater for what it can be. And, you know, if it can no longer be 800 people sitting and facing the same proscenium, then how do we make live theater in a safe way? And the fact that you were already moving online is exciting, that you're already going, what is a new way to reach out without just, you know, postering on White Avenue and hoping people come?
Yeah, exactly. The original idea would almost be like, it would be somebody mixing a cocktail from a local distillery or serving a beer to, we had Big Rec in right before COVID. And I was like, oh, it's too bad I don't have Starlite Sessions like up and moving right now. Cause I'm like, what a great band to like have the bartender interview.
Yeah.
And then we could move into like a local band. Like, so the way we have a loft upstairs and it's like set up, it's plumbed and set up as a VIP bar that we never use because it's behind the stage. So it's a really kind of, it's not a good experience spot, I guess, if you were coming to a show. So we would interview like a headlining band like Big Rec. And then in the corner, we have like a bigger area set up where we could have a local band. And so we were kind of like, the dream would be to interview a band, like a higher caliber band, and then have a local band of emerging artists getting to ask questions like how you booked your first gig, like, and being interviewed over drinks. And then they could play a little set. And then the Big Rec would play that night as a big show. And it would be kind of like a preemptive. That was the dream. We'll get back there one of these days.
That is genius. That's so great.
Well, why don't you start getting into a little bit of what Starlight Sessions is now, right now, and where, like, you know, where it started and when it lulled because of the summer, and where it's kind of revamped back to given winter times.
So how it started was we got shut down at COVID, and we were able to go online that night. And
wait, you did the transition in a matter of hours?
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was literally, I think it was like under 2 hours. I was downstairs in the restaurant, and I was like, man, this is like, it's like, we're just like, we sold almost 600 tickets and we're getting shut down to 250. And I think that was the thing too. We were really concerned. It was like St. Patrick's Day weekend too. So we were like, how are we going to control first come, first serve, you know, like almost 600 tickets and 250 now limited. We have to do first come, first serve. And then we were like, what is this virus spreading? Like, what distance? And we had already in place like all of our hand sanitizing stations and everything like that, but we weren't understanding that things were like airborne or semi-airborne, like you need masks and stuff.
Right.
Like it happened so fast. But yeah, when we made the call and AHS, because we were like on the phone with them the whole time trying to figure out like how we do this safely. And finally we pulled the plug on it. And anyways, we were able to, while we were pulling, I was downstairs, my husband Tyson was upstairs, and I like ran upstairs and he was running downstairs, and we're like, let's live stream it. And we had a videographer in like within 45 minutes, and we were set up, sound checked, tested, ready to go, and up online, I think in under 2 hours. So yeah, it was really cool. It was the real Mackenzies that played that night too. So, but it's strange too, because there's such a punk rock, like there's such a wicked live band, but seeing them play in an empty room, it's like, I don't know, it's very different without like, and they feed so much off the energy of the crowd and stuff. So it was like a really kind of like scary, sombering moment when it happened. So
yeah, punk would be hard in an empty room, I think.
It's like watching Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel do their late night shows from their living rooms with no audience and
you don't know if those jokes are landing, and you're like, oh
yeah. I mean, they truly are. They land here, but because the host can't hear them land, they can't help but comment on the fact that there was no laughter.
Yeah.
So they tell the joke, I'm laughing, and then they go,
yeah, exactly. Like it just feels so different.
And if you watch any of like this, like the oh my god, the Last Week Tonight with Jimmy
John Oliver.
John Oliver, thank you. Holy crap. He kind of he finishes and kind of gives a pause and then moves on. Jimmy Fallon is hard to watch because he'll say the joke and you'll kind of watch his face fall and he'll look around. Like, it's really tough to witness and be a part of. Which is almost like, that's funny because, like, I can't imagine watching a punk band live but not live. Oh. It almost becomes like emo at that point.
It was really hard. Like, because like after we did the live stream, I watched it a few times too. And like, you know, it's like, there was literally like myself, my husband, our sound tech, and the videographer. And I think that was about like, we closed it right down. We still had the restaurant open in the basement and there were still people down there, but like, it was a really closed set. So like, you'll hear people cheering and it's like me, like, ah,
yeah.
Hooray!
But at the same time, like the atmosphere is not the same. But what we've heard from a lot of people we've talked to, and I hope this happened for you, is that you find sometimes a bigger audience or an entirely different audience because somebody in Sparrowfart, Alberta can now sit down and watch this punk band.
And I think that's like one of the big things, like one of the other things, like I said, it was to gain youth retention, but it was also, believe it or not, and I could probably find these statistics for you, but Edmonton is probably one of the most return tourism places in all of Canada. And I'm like, how is that possible? Like, why would anybody possibly want to return to Edmonton as a tourist? And it's like not considered actually a tourist, but we are the largest city, the northernmost largest city. So people from Yellowknife, from Whitehorse, like they'll come to Edmonton for their dentist appointments, for their doctor's appointments. Like, and it's, so we do get so much more tourism than pretty much any city in, like, per population, or I don't know how it works, but we get more tourism that return on a regular basis because of us being a northern city. So it was sort of, I guess that was the thing. It's like, well, if you're going to come into Edmonton 3 times a year to get your dental work done, or I don't know, to do anything really, like to do your Christmas shopping or to do your renovating your kitchen, you're coming here 3 times a year. I'm like, wouldn't that be neat if we can gain exposure again to like these emerging artists who don't have a way to reach a fan base outside of the city without playing gigs. And like, even when you play gigs, like you have to be really good. And I mean like, and really good and really specific to be able to gain exposure when you're playing small little venues that are like, are just pubs, your neighborhood pubs that are, you know, just these tiny little places. And you're like, okay, man, 60 people were in the pub today. I'm praying that they come to the next show I play. Like, and you just have to like slowly build it from there. And then hopefully you can get some online content. So like, anyways, that was kind of a little bit of the goal.
And like you kind of hinted at it, but to Edmonton's credit, the summers in Edmonton are like nowhere else that I've ever been. Like, you know, Calgary does its best, and there's some good stuff that happens here in Calgary. But in terms of like all of the festivals that happen in the summer in Edmonton, all of the, and you go anywhere in White on the summer at Edmonton, and it's a freaking blast.
It's just a different feeling. It's like nowhere else in the world, really. It's like
it's triple the music venues in Edmonton.
Oh, it's crazy. Like I don't know what it is about Edmontonians because it's not like, sure, we're north, but we're not like, it's not that cold. Like, you know, we're like, it's not like the most freezing place. Like, it's not Antarctica. And yet we like those 2 months of summer, we're like, oh my God, it's like we've never seen the sun. We're just all outside. We're all like,
go, drink, jump, cartwheel.
Yeah.
Jump, flip.
We go crazy for summers.
Yeah, I worked up in Fort McMurray a couple of times, and it's got a hugely vibrant art scene. I had no idea, but almost every single day somebody was heading down to Edmonton to either see something that was coming into the Jube.
Totally.
Or and a couple times people went, oh no, this band called, Band is in there, and I got to see him. And I'm like, I've never heard of Band. Oh my gosh. And they would drive to Edmonton to see Band.
You saw Band?
Yeah, I got their autograph and I have the t-shirt.
Ooh.
Oh no, does the autograph just say Band? Yeah. You got swindled. Someone lied to you, I think, Karen. Andrea, why don't you talk a little bit about what's on Starlite Sessions right now? Because I know you live stream actual performances, but then are they archived that you can then watch afterwards?
Yeah. So after we almost always, and I wish we would get better at this, and maybe we will, but almost always when we're live streaming, we say like fan queue goes live at 7:30, say, and then show starts at 8. We're almost always within like a few minutes later than 8, but the fan queue goes live at 7:30. So we have that half an hour bit of time. So if you were to like within the first 48 hours, I would say, if you go to check the link, you'll have a lot of dead air before. Anyways, so then once you can log in and start watching it. And then, at about 48 hours later, our videographer, who's like amazing, she knocks everything down, like gets rid of the dead air kind of part of it, and and has it good to go. So yeah, I would say almost always there's at least 35 minutes, even though it's only supposed to be a half an hour. There's always somebody goes and like uses the washroom like right when we're supposed to go live, and we're like, oh, gotta wait. And it's just too many people.
That's
too
the
many
real
people,
entertainment industry, though. That's the real.
It really is. Like nothing ever runs on time, so it is what it is. And then we archive them on online under our features, and then also on there we have documentaries, some that were filmed in the Starlight Room, and then we found somebody has recorded a ton of shows just that they loved at the Starlight Room, and so we were starting to like load those up, but some of them are. The audio is so bad, and like, you know what I mean? You can only hear the cheering and stuff. Like they were filmed. So and then we also received, like seriously, like 200 DVDs of shows that were professionally filmed. So we're in the process of burning them. So all winter we're going to be putting like old shows online on our, and then back to live streaming pretty regularly too. We'll hopefully live streaming like every Saturday, we're hoping. But right now we just have Scenic Route for the Alaska is our next live stream that's set up to go.
Oh, so, that's going to be good.
It's going to be great. Yeah, that's November 21st, I think. I want to say, but I need to double check.
Are you planning at all on having Neil Diamond in the Starlight Room?
You know what? I'm like one of the biggest Neil Diamond fans you'll ever meet.
Shut up!
I really am.
Oh no,
I saw him.
Griffin, you don't get to talk anymore. No, it's just me and Andrea now. Stop talking,
absolutely
Griffin.
Fair.
I saw him the last time he was in Edmonton. I think it was like 2008, 2009. Then maybe it wasn't the last time he was here. Second last time he was here.
What is it now? 25 years? It was 2015 or 2016.
I think it was 2008 2008, maybe 2009 when I saw him, because I was definitely not 2012, but he played Sweet Caroline 3 times back to back, because like the crowd couldn't get him to stop. Like we were just loving it.
Here's the thing. I've seen him 9 times. And out of all of those times, 7 of them were after Sweet Caroline became big off of the TV show Glee and him singing at the Boston Red Sox or whatever it is. And after that, it was just like, I love you, Neil Diamond, but stop playing Sweet Caroline, because I paid so much money for this ticket. And now it's like 40 minutes of it is just everybody going, ba, ba, ba.
When I started working in the bar, I started working in a karaoke bar. And like, so the way I feel about Sweet Caroline, I could flush it down a toilet. I cannot stand it. And it was 3 times back to back. And I was like, why? Why do you guys love it? And it wasn't even on Glee at that point. So like, I don't think Glee was like even a thing. So why people, I don't know, killed me.
Griffin, this podcast is now called the Neil Diamond at the Starlight Sessions.
Right, yeah. For some context here, Karen is her as you notice on her Zoom template right there, she's made her stage name Karen Johnson Diamond, and that is because she loves Neil Diamond so much. She hosts a Scrabble birthday party for him every year except for this year. She is the biggest Neil Diamond fan that I know. So when you said you love Neil Diamond, I knew the trajectory that this episode was about to go.
I knew that I know you're looking for a young audience, but you've now I'm now the Starlight Room's biggest fan. I don't know who this band is, band, but this lady likes Neil Diamond, so I will go to her establishment.
Killing it.
You mentioned a little bit where you started working at a karaoke bar, and I do wonder how did you get involved in this business? Like, are you a musician yourself? Do you just like do events managing? Like, how did you come into owning, or did you open Starlight? Like, what's the history there?
Yeah.
Like me personally, my grandparents had a catering company through our church hall, like, so the church that they used to go to. So I started working in hospitality industry for a very long time. And then when I started working in the bar, I've always loved live music. And my brother and I did a lot of theater when we were preteens and teenagers too, especially with the Fringe Theater in Edmonton. Loved music, but no, I would not say I'm any type of musician. And it was mostly more from the hospitality scene. And then when I met my husband, when we first started dating, he was roofing, and he hurt himself. And I was working at Blues on White and a different club at the time. And so he started working there, and then he decided to go back to school. And he's such a fan of live music as well. So he went back to school in Grant McEwen's Arts and Cultural Management program. And then, we just kind of progressed in the bar industry side of things. And then Tyson started a company called ConcertWorks, which is a production company. And one of his business partners, Alad Devji, he was an owner of the Starlight Room. There was about 6 owners at that time. And then eventually ConcertWorks, we bought out the other partners, and we took over Starlight Room. So it was more of a hospitality level, but like our production company, Tyson's work with ConcertWorks, made it possible, if that helps you merge it together.
It does. Yeah. I'm definitely putting pieces together here. And so this is a kind of a basic kind of cookie cutter question that I always want to ask people who own music venues. Name me some of your favorite bands.
Ooh,
oh, yeah.
Like my favorite bands are the favorite bands we've put into our room, because they're very different.
Oh crap. Okay, give me one of each. Give me your personal favorite, and then give me the band you had the best experience with, or one of them.
We already know her personal favorite. It's Neil Diamond, but second favorite.
My sister and I, so Tyson and I, the year we got married, we followed Roger Waters, like from Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I shouldn't say we followed him, but we went to see him about 8 times.
He got a restraining order. It was awesome. I loved
it was serious. And Pearl Jam is always going to be next level for me. And my sister and I love Paul Simon on top of Neil Diamond. So yeah, we went to see him in Chicago a few years back. Actually, it was pretty incredible. But I don't know. We are really all around, music fans of all genres. So I would say one of my favorite shows was White Buffalo. It was killer. Big Wreck. I grew up in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s, and my God, Big Wreck. It's one of those bands I never think about. I don't mean it rudely or anything like that, but it's
Big Wreck, I'm
not
so
a band
sorry, okay? The views expressed on the Breakfast Dish are not necessarily coinciding with the hosts, okay? You can't bring me into this, Big Wreck.
But I honestly, it was a band that I really don't think much about. But when we've seen them now, or I've seen them 3 times now since we've owned the Starlight Room, and every time is it's incredible. They're just such professional musicians, and they put on such a great show, and it's so nostalgic. It's oh my God, I forgot they played. It's a really emotional time to watch them. Jizza played last year. Jizza from Wu-Tang. Come on. That was incredible.
Jizza from Wu-Tang. Oh, wow. Yeah. The Wu-Tang Jizza, you mean. I feel like I'm saying dirty words right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I need you to stop saying whatever you're saying. You're my mother, it turns out.
I want a band drop for a minute just so I feel young. Have you ever had Incura from Lethbridge or the Wet Secrets, when the Wet Secrets were still a thing?
Yes. Yeah.
The drummer in Wet Secrets, Trevor Anderson, was the best man at my wedding. He was my best person at my wedding.
That's awesome.
I know. You know what? I don't sound young anymore. Never mind. Carry on.
Trevor Anderson and I had a 50-move handshake that he and I would add one move onto every time that we ran into each other. I can't remember it for the life of me, but all I remember is that we put our thumbs together and then pretended we were a bird, and then the other hand would shoot down that bird, and then those hands would shake hands. That's the only move I remember from that handshake.
That's a pretty solid move, though.
He's been very influential in our lives.
Andrea, where do people go to start getting into these Starlite Sessions? A website, some social medias, where are they going?
Yeah, so you can hit up literally Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube too. Except for I had to clean out our YouTube channel. It lacks structure. So it's just kind of a pile of videos there. So I need to maybe put them in categories or something. And then our website. Our website has it kind of all encompassing on there. But yeah, I would say the easiest is just your favorite social media and hit on that and you'll find us.
Your website is the starlightsessions.com, starlightsessions.com.
Correct. But spelt light, like
light bright.
Yes.
There you go. Doesn't that make me sound old? Well done, everybody. And how about you? Do you have any personal social medias to plug? Are you that kind of person? I know I am.
No, but I mean, with, I don't know. No, not really at all. But we have River City Revival House, which is our restaurant pub that is open, and it is under business licensing and AGLC. It is considered a live music, sort of. I shouldn't say it's AGLC allows us to operate, so we're not technically under the nightclub umbrella that the Starlight Room is. But we are still allowed to we built a vocal closet so we can have live music still downstairs in the restaurant bar. So if you are in Edmonton, yeah, we have our open mic and our open jams that are they're interesting in the sense that you might have to stand in a closet to sing, but it's a plexi closet and it's awesome. And we're able to still host live music. So
that has to be a new band name. Hello, Edmonton. We're Plexi Closet, and we're here to rock you.
And where would you say they're from, there, Karen, with that accent?
They're from Minnesota.
Oh no! You're an actor. Am I right about that?
Oh hi, yeah, we're Plexi Closet. Yeah, okay, and we're here to rock you.
Andrea, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish. Karen, what else is going on this week?
Okay. Coming up this week, there's been a lot of talk online about supporting local as we move into the Christmas season. And so I want to pitch a couple of companies from Calgary that are doing things virtually and live that might be really great for Christmas celebrations. So the first one is you can book a video call to Santa. If you go to videocalltosanta.com, videocalltosanta.com. I happen to be very familiar with Santa. I met Santa a number of years ago, and this is your call's about 8 minutes rather than the 90 seconds that you'd ever get at a mall with Mr. Santa, because he's got a bit more time these days. So you get to pick a package, whether you would like a 10-minute video call plus a recording, or just a 10-minute call, or a personalized pre-recorded Santa video. You pick your package, you select your date and time, you fill out the form and complete the payment, and then you'll receive an email from the elves. Anyway, so videocalltosanta.com. I personally vouch for this Santa. This Santa is Santa. Secondly, there's another company in Calgary called YYC Princess who are doing Santa lawn visits, but they're also doing these wonderful things called the Princess Trains or unicorn parties. And these are all professional actors in Calgary who have, I can't even tell you how gorgeous their outfits are. And they have, they arrive with horns a-blazing, and they stop and sing a song of choice by whoever's getting this princess train. So maybe you want it for a birthday, or maybe you want it for an anniversary or something, but they'll sing happy birthday to the birthday person, sing a song of their choice, a social distance photo. They'll take the princess oath, but they are really taking off, this company. Caitlin Miedrich, who runs the company, was just in Avenue Magazine in 40 Under 40. So this is your chance to support a couple of Calgary businesses, but also anywhere in Alberta, anywhere in the world that you want to talk to Santa, holy cow, then you want video calls with Santa. And if you want YYC Princess, it's yycprincess.com.
Wow, that sounds like a good calendar of events that you had pre-planned. Woof.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing all that pre-work research that wasn't edited in right here.
Yeah. I've been really good about it. Just
That's true.
today, I forgot. It was my idea, Andrea, that every episode we would talk about other things coming up this week that you can see. And then every time we record, I've forgotten to look those things up before we record. I'm mostly just focused on the guests that we have and learning about the guests.
I have to jump in here, and as we come to a close on our episode, I have to thank our sponsors, the Calgary Arts Development Authority, the Rose Foundation, and the Calgary Foundation. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Kalman, and all graphic design has been done by Morgan Ermter. You can follow Karen on social medias at Mrs. N Diamond or at Karen Johnson Diamond. She doesn't know which is which, so you'll have to do some digging. I'm at Griffin Cork, and you can subscribe on the Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify. I just found out we're on Amazon Music, which I didn't know was a thing, but we are. And like, rate, whatever. Andrea, how we like to end the Breakfast Dish episodes is that Karen will ask our guests an improvised breakfast question, breakfast themed, so that we get to keep our name. And she's going to make it up right here as she's a professional improviser. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You're going to hire some band to play in the Starlite Sessions, and they have a breakfast-themed name, their band. What do you think it is?
Yolks and the smoked. Yolks and the smoked. I don't know.
I love the
avocado
internal ride. Yolked and the smoked avocado.
I would go see that.
That sounds actually
That's
pretty good.
probably one of the better quick answers to one of my breakfast questions that we've ever had on this podcast.
Good. We work hard on our puns, so.
Yeah, I can't think of a better way to end it, so I'm not even going to say anything else. It's Yolk to the Smoked Oats. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Killing it.
Bop, 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 bop. This has been The Breakfast Dish.